Hello, little children. This is Mr. Moorhead coming to you live from Moorhead Studios in beautiful, cold. It's actually a little cold tonight, Garner, North Carolina. Yesterday, you learned the economic systems part one. I focused on one system, and that is a market economy. Um, you might have a synonym of free market or capitalism, but it is a market economy. Now, to review, within a market economy, people must own their own business. Once people own their own business, they'll care about it because it's theirs. We talked about gum on the desks, how people tear up like the toilet paper holders or paper towel holders in our restroom. Like folks don't do that at home. So because they own it, they want to take care of it. So once you get people owning their own businesses, you have to get these businesses to compete against each other. And when that happens, three magical things will benefit the consumer. The first thing, you're going to get low prices. The next thing, you're going to get lots of different choices. We talked about like cars from Ford to Mitsubishi to Volkswagen. There's all kinds of different choices of those. And the next thing, you're going to get better products. The final thing that we talked about, within this system, the market determines the price. In other words, the customer determines the price. When you go to Walmart, you are determining the price, whether you'll pay a certain price or you won't. If there are enough people that won't pay that price, something must change within the pricing structure. So again, that is a market economy. Now, since I am a trained professional, if you understood that yesterday, you will understand perfectly what we're going to cover today. If I explained Batman to you, all right, talked about like the Caped Crusader, the Batmobile. I explained everything. He fights crime, all of those things. You would understand the Joker pretty easy. Like, I don't need as much time to explain the Joker because he's essentially the opposite of Batman. So, everything that Batman is, the Joker is not. They're complete opposites of one another. Well, in our kind of Batman Joker analogy, we have a system that is completely opposite of the market economy. That's what we're going to look at today. This economic system that we are going to look at is a command system. Now, when you go into your notes, I'll probably put command up here so that you can see it, but that is the next one that we are going to study. In a command economy, an easy way to remember this is the government commands the economy. The government tells the economy what to do. If you have a commandment, it's something you're supposed to follow. So again, the economy follows what the government says to do, a command economy. And it's the opposite of the market economy. So if we're looking at here, they do not want competition, okay? No competition. The government will own the business or community, like a local government will own the business. So government owns the business. They don't want competition. They think competition might cause workers to be treated unfairly. The next thing, you're going to have very few choices in this. Okay. So again, it's the three opposites. In market, people own the business. Command, the government is owning the business. In a market system, you want competition. You get low prices and all of those things from competition. Here, a command economy, they don't want that. Finally, you're going to have few choices. There's going to be like little invention. There's no reason to make an iPhone 10 in that particular system because like there's not a Samsung to go buy. Okay, it's just the iPhone. One thing that I don't have on the screen at the moment, I'll probably type it in there, but the prices of things tend to be high. Now, you might say, why would a country go through and do this? Why would they have a command economy when we looked at the other one and it seemed to be more successful? My mother's family, so my mom, my grandparents, they came from a place with a command economy. Now, ultimately, within this command economy where the government controls the economy, a lot of people are sold on the fact that you don't get really, really wealthy people and you don't get really, really impoverished people. But within this system, and pretty much most examples of the few countries that would use a command economy, you still end up with a whole bunch of poverty. For example, the country that my mother and her family comes from, it was fairly wealthy prior to this system, But when they put the system in, the average person today, in 2023, the average person makes about 20 United States dollars a month. That's it. That's the equivalent of what they make. So again, it's designed to stop extreme wealth or extreme poverty. But in the many places that have this, most people still end up being impoverished, and they don't have a lot of choices and whatnot like you would get in the other system. So again, we have a market, and then our next system is the command. They are complete opposites of each other. So if you know one, you know the other. If you know Batman, you should understand the Joker pretty easily. All right, our next one. This is a traditional economy. There's not a lot of places that have this anymore. This is where people just trade for stuff. So if we go back to the time of Columbus, like most places had this type of economy. You would walk into a store and it would not be uncommon that you trade something to the people in the store. If it's not a physical product, it might be a service. Maybe you can fix something and they will give you grain in place of that. So they give you something for your service. You're trading back and forth. There are a few places that still do this. We still do this to a much smaller degree, like Facebook Marketplace or like Craigslist, where you'll see somebody, hey, I have a four-wheeler, but I'm looking to get a boat, and maybe I can take partial trade, something like that. Even down to like Pokemon cards, you'll see kids trade those back and forth. So a traditional economy. I remember the T in tradition, traditional for trading. So now we are up to three economic systems. We got market, we got its complete opposite, which is command, and then we have the traditional economy. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever talked to someone that they always like to point out some like little minor difference. I get that a lot with kids in class is I will make a statement that's 99.9% true. And then we have the one kid that's like, excuse me, Mr. Moorhead, actually, there was this one instance 6,000 years ago where you're wrong. Actually. So you'll get that kid. This is one of those cases where I might have that one student point something out. This is our final economy, so we're going to be going over four. It's a mixed economy. Now, this is an economy that uses more than one system. Now, here's the actually, kid, here's what they will point out. Every economy on the planet is actually a mixed economy. Okay? Every one of them. If we're going by this definition, all of them are a mixed economy. So, for example, we'll go to the market system. Remember, people own their own business. Well, the government owns this school. So that's a part of the economy that the government owns. The government owns the post office. That's a little tiny part of the economy that the government controls. Another example, Amtrak. That is owned by the government. If we go to the country that I was telling you about that my mother's family is from, you are allowed to have like a little tiny restaurant. Now, it has to be pretty small, almost like I think of like a food truck, that type thing. That's about all you're allowed to own. Everything else is pretty much owned by the government. So even in that system, there's a little bit of a market there. You can own your own little tiny business. If we go back to Columbus's time where they had a traditional economy, you still see a lot of places that use money and just use cash. So all economies are technically mixed. Actually, that's the kid that will make the comment. But the way that we kind of judge this today, if the majority of your economy, if it's owned by people, it's going to be a market economy. If the majority of your economy, the businesses, are owned by the government, it's going to be a command economy. If the majority of what you do is trade things back and forth, it's going to be a traditional economy. So the way that we judge it today is not, oh my gosh, this country is 99.9% market and I don't know, 0.1 percent command. We count that as a market economy. Okay. The same way if we go to my mom's family's country, if it's 99.9% command, we call that a command economy. So again, to review, you have four economic systems. You got one yesterday, that's the market. Today you got command. It's the opposite of the market. You have a traditional economy. Not a lot of places use that anymore. And then a mixed economy. It's a place that uses more than one. They might use command. They might use a market all mixed together. And if we are being technical, actually, you'll have every place as a mixed economy. Okay. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. I'm going to be posting some other stuff. I want you to get the notes. I will post a game for you guys to play. And if you finish that up, you can go back and do the Quizlet. We're looking at having a quiz on Thursday. So, again, we need to be studying for that. I hope you guys enjoyed the lesson, and I want you to have a great rest of the class.